Hello everyone, Reggie Time here again with I think the 14th episode of the Bankroll Challenge. For the first time during the series we're playing a morning session. It's a Monday morning and I'm off work and we've started some games and we've got some good ones. I'm on one more waiting list. We're going to cap out at 5 tables, we're not going to play 6 today. And I'm on a bit of a recovery mission. I had a session last night, a group session with 2 players from my study group, and it was pretty much an exercise in frustration and dealing with frustration. I was pleased it happened in the sense of it happened during a group session, and I got to demonstrate to the people I'm trying to help with the games how running bad happens to all of us and how I personally cope with it. But on a bankroll building session, in the bankroll building context, it was not the best of sessions. It was the worst losing session of the challenge so far. I dropped 42. It was 42 or 43 pounds, something like that. And we'll get back to that in just a moment. Look at these stack sizes. Oh Christ, what a terrible table this one is. Didn't realise just how short everybody was. It was not a terrible table as in that we'd clearly get a lot of dead money at the table, and we're going to be a big favourite to win most of the money at the table, but it's terrible in terms of how do we ever win a big pot. But I guess we'll just try and win decent amounts by piecemeal. So yeah, we lost £42. I don't recall ever missing as hard with Ace King and Ace Queen. It seemed like every single pot we were in, we were missing. And then we also had a lot of Jack, Jack, Queen, Queen that we bet 2 streets on, and I had to bet fold rivers or check fold rivers. It was one of those sessions where just nothing seemed to go right, and it happened to us all. I think the solace that I can draw from it is we got away from quite a lot of hands, and I believe that many of my peers would have lost more money than me under the same circumstances. So I class that as like a win almost. Not a win, but not a win, but if you're doing that better reciprocally than your opponents would do in that situation. So if I'm in a session where my opponents would usually lose 8 buy-ins and I lose 4 buy-ins, I've gained edge on them long term. And if you're in sessions where I win 8 buy-ins and my opponents would typically only win 7 buy-ins or 6 buy-ins or 5 buy-ins, there's all like reciprocal edge, isn't it? So even though we lost, it still felt like a win almost, because I was really pleased with how I played. It just didn't work out, and that's just the way it is sometimes. So we are on somewhat of a recovery mission, because we were getting close to where we could think about taking a shot at 20NL. Last night's sessions probably put us back 2 or 3 days on that, but whatever. I'm not going to say I'm not in any rush, because I am in a small rush, because I kind of getting the itch to play a little bit higher. But we're doing it properly. We're not going to move up until we have made £400 to add to the 100 that we started on Skype with. So once we get to £500 net bankroll, that's when we can take our shot at 20 now with a 25 buy-in. 25 buy-in roll, we can take a 5 buy-in shot and see what happens. 5 buy-in shots are ideal. I'd probably rather take a 10 buy-in shot, to be honest. So I might wait till we get to 600 actually. Net bankroll. I think that might be better. And we could take a 10 buy-in shot and still have 40 buy-ins, so 10NL. Should things go wrong. I don't expect things to go wrong, but if we're doing it properly in terms of like how I would mentor somebody through building a bankroll, would I necessarily tell somebody to move up at just 20 buy-ins, 25 buy-ins? Probably wouldn't. So I don't know, we'll see. We will see. But for the next day or two, the focus is absolutely going to be on playing well, patching up the damage done by last night, and hopefully getting back to a new high point at some point during the week. That would be nice. I think it's really hard for Senna. I think he's have a lot of draws and stuff. I don't know. It's a bet or check. I think we're going to check and let him bluff his missed straights. He just snap checks back, so that was clearly not great. Let's see what he turned up with. If he had a made hand, I don't like the check, but it's ace deuce. He just gave up. He maybe even would have called there, given that the double paired board. He might have thought his ace high was good. Who knows? I just didn't think he was strong. So if I don't think someone's strong, not really that much point in betting the river into them. Top pair here. Just a matter of bet flop jam turn. Not really concerned about what comes now. We're kind of committed once we make this bet, no matter what the turn card is, no matter what the action is. This probably won't be the longest video I've ever made today. Probably just going to play for an hour or so. I've got quite a bit on today. I'm going to go and see my mum. I've got work at 5 o'clock. Before that, we have a lady from the council coming to do some health and safety checks on our house, because we are going before a panel tomorrow to hopefully complete our transition to 80% self-employed status. For those of you who don't know me or aren't familiar with me, my wife and I also give care to children and adults with learning disabilities. Now, I do that currently through a care company where I'm directly employed by them, but we also take what's called direct payment work, which is effectively self-employed work through a local organisation, and we're now getting on with a larger organisation that's run by the county council, that's hopefully going to fire us into the next level of how much work we can get. We're expected to pass the panel. Kind of how it works is you don't go to panel until you're ready to pass through it, but still it's still slightly anxious times for us, because until you're confirmed you don't know. But if we do get through the panel, which you'll find out tomorrow, then hopefully that'll give us a real good start to the new year in terms of like I said, about at least 80% self-employment, which would be pretty sweet for us. I mean, he just made a huge 4-bet there. I guess we have to jam, but I don't like it. Tens, we'll take it. If I knew he was capable of doing that with tens, it would have been a fist pump jam. Typically when people put unfortunately it's hit the 10 there, typically when people put the weird size 4-bet like he did there to 30 odd, tens wouldn't be top of his range for doing that. Usually people just have aces and kings and things for that. So that one I was capable of 4-betting tens to that sizing. We wouldn't even be remotely concerned about getting ace king inverted in the future. 4-bet 10-10. So what was it? He made it to 32. Because 32 big blinds is just a horrible sizing for a 4-bet. It's usually people do it when they just don't care, because they know they're not folding. But you would imagine that pocket tens, to most people in these games, pocket tens would be a not really sort of hand they want a 4-bet, they either call with it or fold it pre-flop. So interesting that he is 4-betting as wide as 2 tens. That's kind of what I'm taking from that. Disappointing when you used to flip on the river, isn't it? When you hit your ace, you're like, turn card's good for you, and you're home and dry, and then boom, 10 comes on the river, and we're just, it's like a £20 swing on the turn of one card. Table 2 looks like it's going to break soon. Too soon. Battle with him, heads up. Pleased to say we got the better of him, but I won't be looking to continue playing short-handed with him, because, you know, it felt to me like he played pretty well. And I have no real desire to play people heads up who I feel play quite well. That's a flush though, which is not unpleasant. We'll go for a check raise, because he has been betting a lot of turns when check 2. Checking out my ace queen on the table. Whatever it is. 5. Won't be checking back the nuts on the turn. And we can't bet fold this river, so we may as well just bet pretty damn big. Target all these 2 pairs, top pairs, things like that. If he's made a flush, then delighted for him. I'm not sure where I'm going with these 2 4s, to be honest. I haven't caught him bluffing yet. We did on a min raise pre-flop, we'll let it go. I'll just leave the table. This is kind of what was happening last night on what's happening on table 2. Kind of looking for spots to fold, but we're getting such good prices. But we are going to fold this time. We're just going to, well, it was a jam against sneaky fish. No, just calling a river. And he has the nuts. That's just a quick note. It doesn't really mean anything on its own, but just to know when we get check raised by him, just that kind of try. Excuse me. Try to build ranges for players that we don't know. I mean, lots of players would not check raise an flush draw there, or any kind of draw there. They would just, people on this side, typically my read is that they just check call with draws. So if someone does something that goes against my population read, I'd usually just pop a little note on, just so we can bear it in mind going forward. I'm not really sure what I want to happen with this ace-9. Guess I'd be happy just to pick the pot up. Not betting the turn. Probably not calling either, unless he makes like a bet that's way too small. That isn't a bet that's way too small, so he's going to have to lose. That is a flush on table 4 though. Board pairs, which is far from ideal, and we are deep, so we need to bear that in mind. We failed to win the flip on table 2 for an incredibly tiny amount, and we have a straight draw on table 1 in a limped pot. Guess I'm just check folding the river on table 3. And I guess we're just going bet shove on table 2, and if he raises we're not folding. If he somehow has an 8 or 6, 7 or pocket 4s, then he's going to win all of my money. And unfortunately it's just a cooler for him. The board really didn't help him there. As he was nice enough to say unlucky to me earlier. It's only fair that we return the pleasantry. Not really much he can do there. We 3-bet and then just go bet shove, and he has the overpair, and the board doesn't really change for him. Yeah, I think he just has to go broke there, doesn't he? Over them with the deuces. Something I'm happy to do in these games due to the not sure how to describe it. Basically, just due to how passive these games play pre-flop, we can get away with overlimping hands like pocket deuces, 5-6 suited, 6-7 suited, stuff like that, and like only isolate with our premium hands and like our premium suited connectors, that type of thing. Limp with other stuff. Overlimp, never open limp of course, but overlimp. Very exploitable, but I'm not concerned about that in these games. Literally only 4 tables running at 8 and 10 an hour at this time in the morning. If I wasn't making a video, I would probably start one more table, but it gets a bit hectic when you're 4 tabling with 1 heads up. And then when you add the the extra pressure of trying to talk about what you're doing, and it leads me to timing out on a regular basis, which is just shit for you guys, it's shit for me. I could squeeze with the ace jack suited, but we're very deep, and I don't expect to get too many folds, so why block the pot? Backdoor row, flush draw. If he bets c-bets small here, I might be tempted to check raise. If he c-bets big, I'll probably just fold. If he didn't c-bet at all, I'm going to lead all turns on spades, tens, queens, and aces, I think. Assuming Chef doesn't spoil the party by betting, he doesn't. That's a great turn card for us. We'll make quite a big bet on the turn. Obviously we're rooting for a bunch of folds, but we don't mind a call. And then we hope to hit a spade on the river. Or maybe an ace. No mag jams, we just have to fold because we won't be getting the right price. But we take it down. Going for the smaller isolation on table 1 against Sneaky Fish, just mostly due to his stack size. And we get the unusual, unexpected limp fold on table 4. 3-bit by Clemo, ace 8. Super easy hand to throw into the muck. Double gut shot on table 3, so we're probably going to be making a c-bet. And we take it down. 2 overs on table 2. Table 4, sorry, so we're going to make a c-bet here as well. Only really going to continue on a king and ace. Probably not much else. Certainly not going to continue on a 9 of spades. I don't think we have very much showdown value here with our ace queen, but I don't think he's going to fold much either, so he's going to give up hope to win. We do not get it done versus the 5-4 offsuit. He just called the river with quads there. Ah no, he min raised. Oh, these players attack green on table 4. I'm going to assume that's because at some point they've been sat with less than 100 blinds, because I'm not really familiar with any of them. Well, outside of Normag, none of them seem to be particularly fishy. Let's see, pay a bit more close attention to it, because it looks on the face of it like a good table, but it could be that my tagging isn't as accurate as I'd like it to be, because I very, not lazily, but loosely tag people when I first meet them. I mean, if they've got less than 100 big blinds, like Binsey, we're just going to tag him as a fish. He might not be, you know. He might be a fish, but not like a fish in the true sense. He might be a bad player, a weak player, but he might not be like a loose player. He could be one of those fish that plays like 20/6 or something like that. Therefore, he wouldn't get the green tag anymore. But all we know at the minute about Binsey is, and Hug, is he's not playing fully stacked, so we put all the greens on. But that doesn't always mean you're at a good table. It means you can't be at a bad table if we've got all greens. But it doesn't always mean that you're at a fantastic table. That's an ace on the turn on table 2. Sadly, we get the fold. Not really sure what's going on in this hand with Hug. I guess he can like just be called it like with any Queen X. We can't really value bet the river. It's a matter of checking and then deciding what to do. We lose 2 aces. Did not expect that. Normally we'll consider slow playing top set when someone donks into me, but when they only donk for 2 big blinds, we have to raise, because there's not enough money going into the pot. I don't mind slow playing versus donk bets when the donk bet is of a reasonable size, but when it's unreasonable, we just have to raise and take it, I guess. Those aces did surprise me. See that when I got my, we check raise the flop because he bets small, and we think we have the best hand and a reasonable draw. When he calls, we bet the turn, kind of for the same reasons, and then he just checks back the river. I don't know what I would have done if he bet either. I think probably would have called, so I think Hug has missed value there, but he just got lost in the hand, didn't he? He got completely lost. It's not the best of board for aces. When you get check raised on the, whatever it was, 8-9 jack, you're not loving life when you've got 2 aces. Or at least you probably shouldn't be loving life when you've got two aces, unless you're being raised by a player of the maniac variety. I have to defend the ace-10 suited here. It's just too strong to fold, even though he has made it pretty sizable. I hope he doesn't c-bet here, because if he does and we jam, don't think we're going to have as much fold equity as I'd like. Now he checks, we're just going to pot it and just call it off, because I think he'll probably c-bet and overpair here with Jake being in the pot. So when he doesn't, I'm going to just think he's got ace king, ace queen, ace jack, that type of hand. And if he just shove it in my face, now we just have to sigh and call it off. Right, he folds and we'll take it. I dreaded ace king on table 3. It was certainly my least favourite hand of my last session, and to be right honest, it's not been my favourite hand of this session either. I cannot remember the last time I enjoyed playing ace king. C-bet here with 2 overcards and backdoor everything. And my wars with ace king continue, because that is just not a turn card that we can do an awful lot with. Five, 7 offsuit. Yeah. Definitely got a love-hate relationship with ace king. I think we all overplay it to an extent, don't we? It's just a very frustrating hand. It's more of a, in my opinion, much more of a useful tournament hand than it is a cash game hand. Can't really bet jacks again here against Chef Poker. Not going to value bet the river either, because it's just too likely that he might have a hand like ace 7 and just not fold it. King queen. It's an ambitious flop call, I guess. A bluff catch with our king queen here, unless he makes it fucking huge, which he does. Seven, 6, that's fine. Thanks for the show. 7, 6, queen, 8. Another miserable flop for and premium suited connectors. That's unfortunate. I think we can have the best hand a lot with ace queen. Not when people are defending the king 9 offsuit to the 3 bets. It's kind of another frustrating session in terms of being in what feels like good games and again not making hands. And you really do have to make hands on Sky, because making people fold even like relatively weak hands is difficult to do. So you kind of just, there's two ways that I've like oscillated between the two. Just making absolutely massive pots pre-flop with huge pre-flop isolation raises, or keeping pots small, looking to make 2-pair plus or top pair top kicker, and then getting value. And I do go between the two depending on, well, a lot of things, depending on my mood, depending on the dynamics of the table. Feels right now like we're in games where we can kind of go for like the really, really big bets. Instead of like 3-bet into 10 blinds, go for that 3-bet to 14 blinds, etc. And just try and build huge pots and then take them down. Because C-bets definitely work way more effectively in that. It's much harder for someone to limp call 8x, then check call 11x C-bet with bottom pair than it is when you isolate them to 4x and then C-bet 5x. There's a major difference between the two things. So I think for the rest of the session, we're going to be making some like larger pre-flop raises, some larger C-bets, and we're going to really try and put lots of pressure on the crap parts and the weak parts of people's ranges. Hopefully, this table here is not going to break, because I don't really want to play three-handed on camera. Sorry, 3 tables on camera. Let's start by 5x in the ace king. And let's really make some, just see how far we can push the envelope in terms of how big can we make raises pre-flop and still get action. Here we have 5x under the gun. And sadly, again, the wars with ace king just continue to pile up. I mean, there's just nothing we can do here apart from call. Well, yeah, we're going to really like try and push the envelope with. We're going to play a little bit tighter, and we're going to make some enormous raises. Just see what happens. Good to see that table 1 has filled up. Hopefully we can get at least another 20 minutes content, and hopefully we can get at least a few hands where we can make the big pre-flop raises. May have to call here against a sweep. We're far from in love with it. but when we have trips. I went up against the straight, of course. These are the types of games that force comments from players, such as, these sites are terrible, too many fish, we can't beat the fish, etc., etc. And it is frustrating when you just never seem to catch a break against like some of the worst games that you've ever seen. But we do know that these are like the games we want to be in. You want to be in the games where people are calling 5x opens with 5-7 offsuit and things like that. Because eventually, long term, you're going to get the job done in those situations, and you're going to long term make money. You just have to have absolute cast iron guts to withstand an awful lot of bullshit, because that's what's going to happen. A lot of the time, you're going to get really frustrated. But then you're going to have sessions where it feels like you can't do anything wrong. And you just get value all over the place, and you can't believe how lucky you are. Just one of the downsides of playing in absolutely fantastic games is that sometimes, or quite a lot, because this is where poker works, no matter how good a game is, you just never seem to be on the right side of things. That bet's so small we kind of have to call it. And again, it's a really small bet. And we just have to call again. I expect to lose most of the time, but I expect to, wow, 3 kings and 7-8. What the fuck? Not much we can do with the jacks here. We're just going to be beat way too often. Slow play. Oops. No caps. We don't want caps, do we? How Richie doesn't raise that river there with his flush is utterly beyond me when only 80 pence goes in on the river. What should probably happen there is that Power F should 3-bet pre-flop, we call, Richie folds, Power F gets to win the pot. Instead, Power F doesn't, then he fails to check raise the flop with his overpair, and he just lets Richie go from first to worst. Not much you can do while Jake's playing so small. River 2 pair on table 3, so we'll just make a pot size value bet. Hope not to get raised. With a big squeeze with the King Queen. Not had too much joy with just high cards lately, but you've got to keep trying, haven't you? And we want to try and get all this money in 2 bets, so we're going to bet about 160 here and then just shove the turn if he calls. And we are in trouble again. It does have to be said, the last 2 sessions I have played on Sky have been perhaps 2 of the most frustrating sessions of the challenge so far. It literally just feels like whatever happens, we're ending up in like the worst case scenario. And we've all been through spells like that in our poker lives. We'll all go through them again and again and again. Shit happens, doesn't it? But it is really frustrating. I can feel myself now getting quite irritated with what's happening. But I mean, what can we do? Well, it's not like we're going to quit, is it? It's not like we're going to quit the game. You just have to get on with it. You just have to suck it up, buttercup, and just keep doing your best. I mean, what else can you do? It's mega annoying. It's intensely irritating that, like, you finally flop a top pair and someone's got top pair, top kicker in a spot where they probably shouldn't have top pair, top kicker. Or you make your big raises and people are calling them with hands they shouldn't be calling, and they're just getting there, and it's really easy to just go down the wormhole of injustice tilt. But this fucking ridiculous skybug sound again. Don't know why the fuck it happens, but it does. It's just really easy to just get super tilted by it all, and why always me? Fucking hell, the world's a shit place. But it's just poker. It's just poker. We're playing really low stakes because we're practicing proper bankroll management, and we're going to go through all of these swings. If you want to know just how many swings there can be in your poker grind, just go to, I think it's PokerDope. If you Google PokerDope variance calculator, take you to a page where you can have a play around with different win rates and just see just how sick variance really is. And even when you've got a really crushing win rate like I expect to have in these games, you're going to have spells from time to time where you lose 10, 15, 20 buy-ins. and you're gonna feel like you're losing your mind. Yeah, I'm having a minor rough trot at the moment. But what can you do? Quit, you can sulk, you can cry, you can whinge, you can bitch. I mean, it doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't do anything. All you can do is think, right, what's happening? How can I exploit these bad players even better? How can I play even better in these games and force myself to win even when things are really going against me? Or how can I make sure I limit my losses when like every little bit of nonsense that can happen is happening? That's what you have to do, just constantly be thinking about, right, what are we going to do to make sure that we're doing the absolute best that we can do? You know, if you're making lots of raises and you're seeing people calling you with all kinds of crap, make them even bigger. You know, punish them. Figure out ways to punish your opponents even more than you already are. If you're in games where people are just routinely calling 5x opens with all kinds of rubbish, start making 6 and 7x opens. Really punish them. Then when you make your hands, you can get max value for them, and you can put maximum pressure on people post flop with shit ranges. And it's pretty much all you can do. Well, that, or you can fucking sulk and bitch and whine and not change anything and not do anything about it and just feel really sorry for yourself. I mean, I know which I'd rather do. It's okay to feel sorry for yourself, but while you're feeling sorry for yourself, use it to inspire you to play even better, to try and figure out even better ways to maximise your edge, to punish the people that you're playing against. And channel that anger and that frustration in a positive way. Don't just allow it to consume you. I have a really frustrating session here, but it's still been a profitable one. And you know, on another day we could have made our entire winnings back, our entire losses back from last night. We could have made them back today. For the cost of the video, we're not up. We've lost money for the cost of the video. But before the video started, I think I made £5 in about an hour and a half, which is fucking rubbish. You know, it's a rubbish hourly rate. But we'd struggle to have seen more nonsense happening. So I think at the start of the next session, I'm going to start out with having like 4x as my standard open, because being 3-bet is not a problem in these games. Being called is what happens most of the time. Being called or folds, light 3-betting just isn't a thing. So we're going to start having like 4 and 5x opening sizes, and we're going to tighten up a little bit, and we're going to see how that works in our next few sessions. I mean, not much we could do with the 2 6s on that board, but I think we're probably going to win the session soon, because I do have a few little chores and jobs to do, and we are just 3-tabling. So yeah, I think we're just going to play around to our blinds at every table and take a little break. Unfortunately, again, we've had like some really good tables. For the second session in a row, we've had some really good tables, and we've failed to capitalise on it. But you know, we take solace from the fact that we had some really good tables. That's what we're going to take solace from. I'm going to bet twice on this 10-9-9 board. just to put pressure on like big cards and under pairs. Of course, if we get raised, that will be the end of the adventure. There's a chance he calls there with like hands like King, Queen. Who knows? Even maybe hands like Ace 7, Pocket Deuces. I mean, it's hard to have a 9. But if he calls twice, we're obviously going to be done with it. And we might have moved to showdown value. Seems unlikely. I'm going to hope he's got pocket 3s here or pocket 5s or Queen Jack or something, and we just get to win. Ace 7, wow. I was assuming he would fold Ace 7 on the turn there. Fortunately, we stuck out on it. So, let's see. Ace 7 suited, then twice on. Because now we know that we understand the flop float to an extent, but now we know he floats, flops, and turns with just those sets of hands. We won't be taking the double barrel line against him with like complete airballs that we just then. Going forward, we probably won't even be c-betting very light at all in future. But what we will be doing will be like isolating him really quite big, because it looks like he just likes a limp call for any price, and then just playing very exploitatively post flop by just value betting him or like making like bluffs where we have like high equity, and we won't be doing too much of the airball c-betting. We'll play the deuces, and then it's going to be the end of the video. And then the video, I'll pause it quickly, then bring up my spreadsheet so you can all see how the challenge is progressing in terms of numbers on a sheet. Deuce's adventure is now over, unless we turn over for a deuce, of course. Let's go full screen. Let's just go a little bit of glorious technicolor full screen for the last hand. I mean, deuce is small chance to good here. If we bet 10 pence again, we're obviously going to call. Deuces were not good, but we don't care because he just failed to get value. So I'm going to pause the video now, and then be back when we've got the spreadsheet up and running. So here we have the spreadsheet. Input today's results first. What are we on? 12, 16. We have to put live in because Sky isn't on it. Let's call it 510. No limit. We only played 4 tables, so we'll say our buy was 40, and we actually made £7 that session. So our return was 47. We played 4. How long did we play for? I did have it down on a notepad. 9:52, 11:25. So we'll call that an hour and a half. 1.5. Oops. 1.5. And we were just 4 tabling. So we made £7. So overall for the challenge, and this is just on Sky, we played 42 hours so far. We've made £306 at £7.22 an hour. And for the month, and I don't know why this is coming up like this, it's used to have it all there, but for some reason now I think I've somehow messed up with the spreadsheet and it's not showing it. But the month to date, our return is £107 over 25 hours. So our hourly for the month is poor, it's down at £4 per hour. But overall we're at £7 per hour, and I don't think I've run particularly well this month. We've had more losing sessions than I would have anticipated. I see we got off to a flyer, to be fair. We did really get off to a flyer. And then from really the start of December, it's been, we've done okay. Okay, I mean, we won £100 in 12 days at 10-0, so it's not a fucking disaster by any stretch, but it does feel like it could have been so much better, but that's life. If anyone can tell me how to fix this spreadsheet so I can actually fucking see it all, because right now I can't slide this anymore. I'm sure there used to be some sort of slide thing, like across there and across there. There it is. I've done it myself. Yes, you see, current month to date, current cash for £107, total cash profit is 306. It's an okay little spreadsheet. It's nothing special, but it keeps me on track. It lets me know what's going on. And so there we are. That's how the challenge is going. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and we'll be back soon with another video. I may even make one tonight. Who knows? There's every chance that I will. Bye bye for now.